couple of minutes. Favorite Diva, thank you very much. Trying my best. Yeah, so I'll let you guys know a little bit about how my day was going. My day was actually really good. I got some good news. I'm going to be actually teaching a class this Saturday at a college virtually about anxiety. And I'm excited about that because I've really been trying to reach some younger people in my community who I know have been struggling with anxiety. A lot of people struggling with anxiety. And I was putting together a bunch of just ideas for classes and agendas for classes. And this college contacted me due to a friend of mine that works there, and they were looking for something. I had something that I had written months ago for a workshop that I wanted to put together. I sent it to them. It fit what they were looking for, and they were ready to rock and roll. It came together very quickly, which I'm real happy about. And thank you, Favorite Diva. Anything new about the book? The book right now is being edited, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using the money that we're going to be getting for the stimulus check. I'm going to be using that along with what you guys have sent me to self-publish it. So hopefully it's going to be coming soon. Gotta get my taxes done and my business taxes done, and whatever money I get, it's going to be what I'm going to be using for self-publishing. So hopefully I'll be ready to rock and roll soon. I can't talk about it too much because Insight Timer has rules about what I can and can't discuss and what I can and can't promote. I can't promote too much of anything. Not even when I mentioned the class, I wanted to make sure I didn't mention the university because there's rules. I don't want to get in any trouble. I don't want to get in. I still want to be able to use Insight Timer and reach you guys and connect with you guys. So I gotta follow their rules. So everything I talk about, I have to talk about it very carefully and respectfully. But yeah, moving forward. We're moving forward. It's getting edited now, and after that, self-publishing is getting closer and closer. So thank you very much for asking. And thank all of you guys for your support. Every donation is a step closer to what I'm trying to achieve. So I appreciate all of you guys who donated, all the guys who will donate. I appreciate everything. Yeah, you're right, baby. I tread it very lightly. I don't want to break any rules. I don't want to be blocked from this site. This site has connected me to you guys, and I'm grateful for that. And also I'm putting together a panel discussion about some of the issues happening in my community and in black communities all around the country. And I said to myself, you know what? I have my own business. I have my own platforms. I want to discuss this stuff. So I put together a virtual panel discussion. And something told me to invite the senator. The Connecticut senator is a guy named Doug McCrory, who everybody thinks is related to me because we have the same last name or a similar last name. And we could be related. I have a huge family. My family is gigantic. And I actually heard back from his office. I sent the email a month ago. Didn't hear anything for weeks. And then this week alone, I got 2 emails from his office saying that he's interested and asking for information. I sent in the information. I heard back from them again. They said, thank you for your patience. We're trying to see if we can make it. So I'm excited to hear from the senator of the state of Connecticut saying that he's interested in having a conversation with us about how we can help our community. That was pretty cool for me. He hasn't said for sure he's going to be there, but just the fact that his office is reaching out and they're saying they're interested. It's been a pretty cool week. It's been a pretty cool week thus far, and it's only going to get better. I know it's only going to get better. I know, like I said, I had a rough year, really rough year. We all had a rough year with COVID, but me and my wife separated and struggling with a lot of things financially. I feel like things are on the up and up, and all I want to do is just reach more people and help more people. So it's amazing to know that I might be in a situation where I'll be speaking with somebody with some power. They can hear my voice, and maybe we can come up with an idea where we can help the community. That's my whole thing. If I can help the community and help people, that lets me know that I'm on the right path. If I can say something and reach people, I know I'm on the right path. So that's what it's all about for me. just knowing that there's individuals in politics who can make some things happen, who can reach more people, hopefully. And it seems like it's in the works. It's moving in the direction I need it to move in. I'm excited about that. The more people I can help, especially kids. I can help some teens and help some kids and put them on the right path and introduce them to mindfulness and meditation, but also just introduce them to a situation where they can have, positive black male role models around them, steer them in the right direction. That's beautiful to me. Hopefully we can make that happen. Hopefully this whole thing that I put together is really gonna work. And it makes me feel good that I stepped outside of my comfort zone and said, you know what, I'm gonna lead this, I'm gonna make it happen. And it seems to be working, and there's great people around me who said, you know what, we're here for you. That was cool. I had a really good week. So far. But like I always say, I want you guys to understand, there's a Kemetic spiritual science. I am a little bit proud, man. I am. I feel good. But I make sure that I keep my head out of the clouds, on the ground, and try to stay focused. But there's, and I want you guys to understand this, because this is something that I had to learn that helped me with my anxiety. And it was called, there were two principles in ancient Kemetic or Egyptian spiritual science. Before it was called Egypt, that land was called Kemet. And Kem means black, and it's a term that means the black land, because the people who lived there were originally black people. And there's two principles there. There is the principle of Ma'at. Ma'at is a goddess who is the symbol, and she's the goddess you see who stands with her arms out, and she has wings on her arms, and sometimes you might see her with the scale of balance. And Ma'at means balance, it means justice, it means order, it means reciprocity. Those principles are the principles of civilization and the principles of sustaining the universe. And then there's another principle. It is a live session, man. So, and there's another principle called Isfet. And Isfet is a principle for chaos, for entropy, for the deterioration of the universe, for injustice, for imbalance, and things of that nature. So whenever you're trying to do something good, there is always going to be that principle in the universe, entropy, where little things are going to go wrong, or even big things are going to go wrong. Understand that it's just how the universe works, and you keep moving forward. I've had to deal with so much Isfet this year, but I've also seen the beautiful blessings of the goddess of Ma'at. And I just keep moving forward. No matter what happens. If something good happens, I'm like, alright, great, move forward. If something bad happens, alright, great, move forward. Understand these are just principles of how the universe works. There's going to be the good and there's going to be the bad. And don't let your anxiety overwhelm you as you are dealing with the principles of the universe. Some people paint this picture that everything is going great for them, but even as they conquer and achieve their goals and overcome their dreams, there's going to be these little small upsets and little small failures, and that's the same thing with you. Same thing with me. And the battle is don't let your ego convince you, or your negative perception of yourself convince you that these small upsets are so overwhelming that you can't overcome them and that you can't achieve your goals. Accept the good with the bad, and it's just the flow of energy in the universe. Allow it to be. Just keep moving forward. Alright? Now, having said that, this is our session where we want to discuss anxiety. Anxiety, what it is, how it affects us, what you're personally going through, and how we can try to manage it and overcome it with mindfulness techniques, with support techniques, whatever I have to offer, whatever I've been through, my personal experiences. I want you guys to ask your questions. I said last week that this is about you. So whatever questions you guys might have, whatever you're going through, you want to share, let's rock and roll. So I'm not going to say anything else from here on in. I'm going to respond to questions. And if you guys need me to lead it, I'll try to lead it to the best of my abilities. But I really want it to be about you. It's an open discussion for you guys. So let's start with anyone who might have some questions, or anybody who might need some support. Please, don't feel shy. If you have anxiety, just step forward and just say, hey, listen, this is what I'm going through. Do you have any, whatever. Ask whatever questions you want. Go ahead. Don't be shy. Don't ask all at once. Don't trip over your own 2 feet trying to jump in the conversation, guys. Come on. Don't be shy, please. Okay, so let's start with something simple. Is there anyone who is experiencing anxiety recently? You can put yes, you can put a little star, you can put a little heart. Let me know if you guys have been experiencing any anxiety, or you feel like you need support for anxiety. May you always experience anxiety? Okay. Is there anybody else here who feels like they're experiencing a little bit of anxiety every night during sleep? Stephanie? Okay. Anybody else? Don't feel shy to speak up. And as a matter of fact, I'll be the first one to say that luckily I have not been experiencing anxiety, but I've experienced the ultimate depths of anxiety. Sunny all the time, okay. I have since childhood, but it's been out of control this past week. Okay, Dana, thank you for sharing that. When you wake up before you go to bed, Liv. Okay, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And let me just tell a little bit about my story for those who may be new or those who may have forgotten who've been here before. I've experienced severe anxiety. Throughout my life, I've dealt with traumatic issues in my childhood, tremendous amount of feelings of fear and rejection throughout my adolescence, social anxiety through my early 20s that I covered up with a lot of alcohol and weed and pill popping and bizarre behavior, and then all of that culminated into little bouts of anxiety and panic attacks when I was in my mid-20s, which I didn't understand what was happening. And then finally, when I was 30, I met my girlfriend, who ended up being my wife for 8 years. We were together for 10 years. 8 years we were married. And I experienced a tremendous amount of anxiety when I hit 30. I started having very severe panic attacks. And then I had to use my mind and use mindfulness and meditation to overcome that. And fortunately for me, when I began to seriously hardcore meditate and go through therapy and study the nature of the mind and the nature of attachments, I overcame it. And my wife, or my soon-to-be ex-wife, she used to always tell me, don't tell people they can overcome anxiety with meditation. But that's my personal experience. I overcame it. I kicked its backside with meditation and mindfulness. And so I always tell people, I beat it. I want you to try to beat it too with mindfulness and meditation. And so for you guys, and I know everybody's a little bit hesitant to open up on the topic, I'm going to tell you guys up front, I suffered a lot to the point where I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what a panic attack was. I didn't have that vocabulary back then. I didn't know what an anxiety attack was. I didn't know what anxiety was, period. I never heard anybody talk about these things. And I ended up in a hospital on 3 or 4 different occasions thinking I was going to die with oxygen tubes connected to my nose, and my best friend sitting next to me, and my wife sitting next to me, thinking that there was something wrong, thinking they were going to have to perform surgery or put me on medication. And then my doctor told me, we can't find anything physically wrong with you. Alright, Liv, a good question. Thank you for your question, Liv. How can you help someone suffering from severe anxiety? The first thing you have to do is understand that. Yeah, you too, Stephanie? Okay, cool. Yeah, and so you coming from the same angle I'm coming from. So Liv, first thing you have to understand is this. If someone is suffering from severe anxiety, they have to understand that they have to put the work in. And all you can do is try to support them when they ask for the support. But you also have to ask them to work, which is something people don't want. If someone is anxious, they don't want to have to work because they already think the worst. So if you tell somebody you can handle this, you can manage this, you can put in the work, they're automatically going to think about all the things that can go wrong. So it's your job to offer them the support, but also it's your job to ask them, hey, put in the work. That's what you can do. And that's as far as you can take it. You can offer them support. If they call you and say, hey, where are you? Let's talk. If they can call you and say, hey, you know what? I want to have lunch with you. I want to go out for drinks. Support them as best you can. But also understand that you also have a responsibility to ask them to put in the work. If putting in the work means taking their medication, ask them to put in the work. If putting in the work means asking them to put in a time with a therapist, that's putting in the work. If putting in the work means asking them to spend 5 minutes a day meditating, that's putting in the work. And they have to be willing to do that. And it's your job to remind them as consistently as you possibly can that it's their responsibility to take care of themselves. Don't let them guilt you into thinking that it's up to you to save them, because you can't. I had a friend of mine who suffered from manic depression for years, and he would guilt everybody around him and try to convince everybody, hey, it's your job to save me. That's right, Raphael. Breathe and hope for better days. But they have to put in that work. And as harsh as that might sound for someone who feels very weak and they feel very out of control, you are actually empowering them. By telling them to put in the work, you're putting the responsibility on them and you're giving them the power over their own destiny. Don't let anybody guilt you into thinking that you have to save them. You have to support them, yes, as a friend, support them. But as long as you're giving them the tools to save themselves and they refuse to take those tools, understand. Don't stress yourself out. Some people get so used to that power of stressing you out, they don't understand that they can overcome things on their own. Support is necessary, yes. Therapy, necessary, yes. So in some cases, medication, necessary, yes. But they have to put the work in. And you have to remind them of that. And you don't have to throw it in their face. Don't be cold. Don't be mean. Don't be cruel. But you can remind them gently. You know what? Have you taken your medications? You'll be surprised at how many people don't take their medications, but they still call you and say, hey, help. Yo, all you gotta do is wake up and I want to take that pill. That's a start. If they won't even do that much, there's nothing you can do. They might call you 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh my God, I'm freaking out. Help. Ask them, did you see your therapist this week? If they won't do that much, if they won't do that, there's nothing you can do. They might call you and say, hey, you know what? I'm feeling a little bit out of my mind right now. Okay? Did you make sure you sat down for your 5-minute meditation session when you got up in the morning and when you went to bed at night? If they can't do that much, there's nothing you can do. I had to do that. When I was dealing with anxiety, I said the problem is in my mind. I'm going to use my mind to solve the problem. And I'm not using myself as an example because everybody goes through different things, but I was focused and consistent. I said I'm going to beat this. And I did. And not everybody can beat it with the same strategy that I used, but the people can put the work in. Remind them, listen, take 5 minutes for yourself. Meditate. Take 5 minutes for yourself. Take your medication. Take an hour for yourself. See your therapist. And if they're not doing that, just prepare yourself emotionally for the trauma of letting go. Because with some people, you might have to let go if they're not putting the work in to save themselves. Because you can't save anyone but you. And that sounds harsh, but you can drive yourself crazy trying to save other people who don't want to be saved. Anybody else have a question? I see, I'm not sure how many there are here because this number updates very slowly. But it says here we got 54 people in here. I want to salute every one of you guys who showed up, because you might be going through anxiety and you might just need to be here. Thank you for taking that step. Salute you to everyone who's here. And don't be afraid. Can meditation help with cancer? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Now, I'm going to tell you my personal thoughts, and then I'm going to tell you what science has shown. My personal thoughts is that meditation can help with a lot of things, because your mindset helps with a lot. Your mindset, one thought can produce a series of neurochemicals and then a series of physical reactions. And believe it or not, stress and cortisol can cause cancer. So if your thoughts can cause cancer, I believe your thoughts can cure cancer. Now, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that how you think can get rid of a gigantic tumor in your body. However, I can tell you that from the research that I've done, how you think and how you eat and how you live can actually prevent cancer. I've read that if you eat certain foods and follow a certain diet, it can help to prevent cancer, and it can help to alleviate the chances of you catching cancer or developing cancer. And I've read that, yes, by living a certain lifestyle and meditating and being free from stress, you can reduce your chances of getting cancer. And by being overly stressed, you can raise the chances of getting cancer. Now, can I say that I've met somebody personally in my life who had cancer and then started meditating and got rid of it? I can't tell you that personally, but there's always those stories from scientific research that will show you a person might have cancer, and then they start meditating and they start eating right, and the cancer becomes benign, or they actually develop the ability to get rid of the cancer. And then for those individuals who go really in depth, go out into Tibet and live in the mountains and go to India and live with the gurus, they can say that they will overcome cancer through meditation. I believe the mind can accomplish a tremendous amount of goals. That your mind has a lot of power that we don't tap into. I believe it's possible, but I don't want to give anybody false hope. So if you have cancer or know someone who has cancer and you want to explore meditation and mindfulness and holistic methods for treating your cancer, look into it. Do the research, do your due diligence. I believe it's possible. I mean, I can tell you from my personal experiences, and I'm diabetic, and I have hypertension. I've had instances where I was at the doctor for various reasons, and they were like, "Oh my God, Mr. McCrory, your blood pressure is through the roof. We might have to give you some kind of pill." And I would say, "Okay, give me a second," and I would sit, meditate, breathe, go into my zone, and they'd be like, "Mr. McCrory, we don't know what happened, but your blood pressure is back down to normal. I don't know what you just did." I've had those instances. I've had an instance where my blood sugars were out of whack for years, and I lost feeling in my arm and in my fingers one year. And I said to myself, okay, I'm going to fix this. And I would sit and meditate for an hour and use a particular visualization technique and regain feeling. I lost the ability to control these fingers at one point. I didn't tell anybody that, but I used meditation. Next thing you know, I'm fully functional fingers and my arm is fully functional and all of that. So I know meditation can do miraculous and amazing things. So explore that. I would say explore it. I'm not going to say for sure I know the technique to get rid of cancer, but explore it. Why not? What were some things I heard from others trying to help but were not helpful? Can you be a little bit more specific? Liv, can you be a little bit more specific? What were some things you heard from those trying to help? What do you mean? From individuals who were trying to give positive advice and the advice didn't help? Is that what you mean? And trying to help with what? Trying to help with anxiety, or trying to help with health, or trying to help with what precisely? as far as meditation and people trying to help with, like me and my experiences with anxiety. I've gotten lots of advice on how to deal with anxiety, but it was kind of advice about anxiety where we didn't use the words anxiety. So I know for a fact there were times when I was younger where I would feel nervous about relationships or nervous about moving forward on certain projects or nervous about anything. And of course, you always get advice that, take a drink. That's a lot of the advice I got. You're feeling upset? Here, take a drink. You're feeling anxious about something? Take a drink. Smoke this weed. Pop this pill. Those chemical kind of approaches, those kind of unprescribed chemical approaches were never useful. Never, ever, ever useful. Anybody who's going through anxiety, just look around you. Look around you and think for a moment. Think about the last time you felt anxious, or you wanted to avoid something, or you wanted to talk to somebody and you took a drink or popped a pill or smoked some weed. That's not going to help. The goal is to overcome anxiety or find techniques to manage anxiety, and the techniques, the chemical techniques, meaning alcohol, pills, marijuana, and whatever else you get your hands on, cocaine, heroin. If you're using any of those chemical techniques to treat or manage your anxiety, they're worthless. Totally worthless. Anything that prevents you from feeling the anxiety, recognizing those feelings and processing those feelings so you can move forward, anything that prevents you from any kind of emotional reaction is worthless. Totally, completely worthless. I'm sorry, I got the hiccups for whatever reason. They're worthless. Never strive to avoid acknowledging the feeling. Even when they give you, and I'm going to say this and it might be controversial, even if somebody's giving you prescription medications to prevent you from feeling anxiety, I even think those might be a little worthless. Because the goal is to feel it and learn how to process it so that it doesn't have power over you anymore. When I was going through my anxiety and having panic attacks, I'll answer your question in 1 second, Katia. Let me just tell this little anecdote. When I was going through anxiety and having panic attacks, I had a panic attack at the grocery store one day. And I think I've told you guys this story before. But I had a panic attack at the grocery store. So every time I went to that grocery store next to my girlfriend's house, my girlfriend became my wife. Every time I went to that particular grocery store, I would have a panic attack. The first time I went to that grocery store, I had a panic attack. And every time I went back again, I have another panic attack. And then one day I said to myself, I want to overcome this. And so I would force myself to go to the grocery store, and I would time myself. I would literally go in and I would say, okay, give me 5 minutes. If you can give me 5 minutes in that grocery store and just be with the feeling, I can beat this. So I went for 5 minutes, got out of there. 5 minutes again, got out of there. Then 7 minutes, then 10 minutes. And eventually I began to be able to process those negative physical sensations. And then after a while, they didn't mean anything to me anymore. And then they went away. That's what works. Trying to avoid it through any kind of chemical intervention is not going to help you beat it. And for me, beating it is the goal. Katia, you said, do you find your anxiety worse when you have to wear a mask? Absolutely. Because the mask, for me, was always intoxication. It was either intoxication, popping a pill, smoking some weed. Those were my masks. And then you realize that the anxiety is not going anywhere. If I'm anxious in a situation where I have to socialize with people, so I get drunk on Monday just so I can hang out with people, then guess what? When I hang out with people again, I'm going to have to get drunk again. But because alcohol and pills and weed are chemicals, your body is going to adapt to the chemical, and so you're going to need to overuse the chemical as you get used to it. And then eventually they don't provide the same emotional support that you're looking for. So that first time you got to hang around people or you got to give a speech, you have beer, you have some wine, you're good. After a while the beer and the wine doesn't work, and then you become incapacitated and you can't function. and that makes your anxiety worse because you're gonna kick your own butt for what you feel is failure. You failed to interact. You failed to make a good impression. You failed to charm someone. You failed to get the job because you were too drunk to do it properly. You fail at sex. At first, when you want to have sex, you're going to have a little shot to ease your nerves and get rid of that little anxiety, and then you're going to perform and you're going to be great. But then you're going to have to drink every time you have sex, and it's going to stop working, so you're going to drink more, and eventually you can't perform sexually. You're wasted. And then you're going to really beat yourself up. So the anxiety is going to magnify itself exponentially. You have severe chronic pain and you wake up with anxiety. Okay? Well, one thing I've noticed that meditating helps you with anxiety and it actually helps with pain too. Because a lot of times what happens is your body stores the pain because you have all this tension in your muscles. And the tension in your muscles actually makes the pain worse. When you learn how to relax the body and calm the body, that kind of helps to reduce the pain a little bit. And also helps you see things as they are. Quite often you have these painful physical reactions because you're anxious about things. So your body responds to the pain. So try meditating. When you wake up, if you're waking up with anxiety, as soon as you wake up, meditate. Or before you go to bed, meditate. Take a few minutes just to meditate and relax your body and see if you can get the anxiety to be reduced by simply calming down your body and relaxing your muscles. And see if that helps. And you do both every day. And yeah, meditate in the morning every day, meditating in the morning, at night, but just go a little deeper. Try meditating a little bit longer. See if that helps. And try different techniques. And also they say try yoga. I've always heard that yoga really works at relaxing the body and helping you ease the pain. Just try to go a little bit longer and see what happens. Keep in mind the unfortunate thing, but the good thing for me is that your body is your laboratory. Your body is your lab. Experiment. See how far you can push it. See what you can make your body do. That's what I had to do with my mind when I was going through anxiety. I just had to push it. I tried for 5 minutes to meditate every day. Once I got used to that, then I pushed it to 10 minutes. And then 20 minutes. And it really helps. And keep in mind, I have had very stressful jobs. I've had very stressful jobs and very anxiety-inducing jobs over the years. So 5 minutes of meditation before I walked in the building was great. And I had to meditate for 20 minutes before I walked into the building. Just keep trying to push it further and further and try to find other techniques and not only that, but expand your world. Find other people who can meditate with you. That's why Insight Timer is great, because right now I'm talking to people from all over the world and we're all working together. And then try it with individuals in your personal life. See who else you can recruit to be a part of your circle. See who else you can meet with. See who else you feel safe around. Push your comfort zone further and further and further apart until you feel more comfortable where you are. Diane. Lisa, not sure that is the mask Katia was asking about. Face covering, maybe trouble breathing during anxiety. Is that what she meant? Was the physical mask or emotional mask? And you might have a point, Lisa. I'm sorry to Katia if I misinterpreted the question. Diane, hopefully I gave you something that was useful to you, Diane. And keep in mind, you can come back next week and let me know if any of that works. You're welcome back, Diane. Do you have, Lisa asked if you're feeling anxious about wearing a physical mask. Does that make you feel more anxious, Katia? Okay, physical mask. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I work at a job where I have these young kids who are struggling with mental health issues, but they also struggle with addiction. And when we're around them, a lot of these kids might come in from being homeless, they might come in from being on a run from the law. So we don't know where they've been. So we have to wear a mask and a face shield all the time. And you feel very, very confined One thing that I noticed before I put myself into anxiety triggering experiences, let me ask a little bit of meditation beforehand helps me out a lot. Like I said, I used to work at a job where you would have kids who were dealing with severe mental health issues and become violent, and I would sometimes go through anxiety before I went into work. And even right now, I'm working with kids who are dealing with mental health issues and anxiety and anger and trauma. So sometimes before I walk into the building, I might feel a little tense. And so I meditate before I go in. And also I do deep breathing. And one thing I noticed too, trying to have a workout regime helps me out a lot. During quarantine, I'm not ashamed to admit, I put on some weight. Makes it harder to get around, and I feel weighted down and all that kind of stuff. So just working out a little bit makes me feel a little bit better. I feel more powerful. I feel more energized. So try that. Try adding in a little working out. And if your body is resistant to working out for whatever reasons, tell yourself, give me 5 minutes. Give yourself 5 minutes. That's what I have to do. I got 2 big 45-pound weights here. I love to lift weights. But because I put on weight and I feel slower and more sluggish, it was hard to get back into the regime of working out. But I told myself, give me 5 minutes. I said, listen, Devin, before we go out there, give me 5 minutes. And then I started working out for 5 minutes. And before I knew it, 5 minutes turned into 20 minutes, almost in the same week, the same 2-day span. So now when I go to work and I have to put the mask on, I don't feel the anxiety anymore because I feel more pumped up. I feel more energized. And I heard that, working out is good for anxiety too. So try that. See if maybe adding 5 minutes of a workout routine plus meditation can help you deal with the anxiety just wearing that stupid mask on there. For me, Chris, good question. Do you think extensive meditation can cure anxiety? For me, I'm going to answer the question carefully. Yes. Keep in mind, I've been in a position where I've had social anxiety, severe social anxiety, to the point where every time I was around crowds of people, I would have to drink. Meditation helped me overcome that. Now I'm just excited all the time to be around people. And also, I had the panic attacks and the anxiety attacks. And one thing with meditation helps you to observe what's happening without feeling connected to it. And then eventually when you're able to do that, these emotions lose their power over you. I was saying, I think last week, your mind and your body are both jerks. They're jerks, and they work to create a sense of reality for you. So your mind thinks a thought, oh my God, something bad's gonna happen. Then your body picks up on that thought, and you have these physical reactions to that thought that make you think that thought is real. Without the physical reactions to the thought, your thought and your mind don't really hold no weight. It only has power because your body responds. And then your body feels a sense of, oh my God, something bad's gonna happen. You feel tension in your stomach. You feel tension in your muscles. And then your mind starts thinking, oh my God, something's gonna happen. So then your consciousness thinks it's real. Meditation helps you to fall back and just look at it. Your mind thinks a negative thought. And then sometimes I find myself observing my thoughts like, wow, that's a weird thought. Why am I thinking that? So because I can look at the thought almost from a distance, that prevents my body from responding to the thought. Or even if my body does respond to the thought, I can look at it and think to myself, I'm having a negative thought or a negative feeling in my gut. I can let it go. Meditation helps you to just let these things go and just experience these things without attributing too much significance to them. Once you can really become meditative, you can experience these things and just let them come and go. Mooji, who's a master teacher at meditation, he would always say, just see these thoughts as just clouds drifting through the sky. They come and they go. You don't have to have an emotional reaction. You can just see them. You just see them and just let them pass. Same thing, and it might sound extreme, same thing with panic attacks. Same thing with anxiety attacks. Your body can metabolize those chemicals within 10 minutes. Those chemicals are adrenaline, cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine, all of that stress stuff. Your body can metabolize those chemicals within 10 minutes as long as you don't feed the anxiety. You have those anxiety feelings and you start adding to it with more fear and more panic and more frustration, and you try to resist, then that panic attack can last for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. As long as you can sit calmly, let it come, let it go. And they're gone within 10 minutes. And then they'll be gone within 5 minutes. And then they'll just be gone. That's what I've learned. Let them come, let them go. At least for me, that worked. Now, there might be some individuals who have actual issues with their neurochemistry and actual physical issues. I'm not going to sit here and preach to you and tell you anything that's not real, but those are my experiences. Meditation helped me and it saved my life. Yeah, Candace, the meditation helped me a lot. Especially when it comes to panic attacks, what helped me a lot was just mindfulness. Not so much meditation, because meditation is kind of a different practice, but mindfulness. I would find myself freaking out, and I would just do something to immerse myself in the present moment. For me, it was music. I would love to listen to music. I would get panic and freak out, and then music would help ground me in the present moment, because music is such an immediate experience. And I'm a hip hop head, so when I hear somebody killing it with an ill hip hop verse, like Pharoahe Monch. I don't know if you guys ever listened to Pharoahe Monch. Pharoahe Monch is one of the greatest hip hop MCs of all time. And he would like spit his verses and then start singing and then start these multi-syllabic rhyme schemes and then change with cadences. He has a song called Scream off of the album he did, and it's funny he named it PTSD. And just listening to the way he rides the beat and the way he's throwing punches, I'm like, man, this is genius. How can I freak out when I'm listening to that? I'm immersed in the present moment because I'm admiring his skill. For a lot of people, not to me, my favorite MC of all time is Nas. So I listen to like a Nas verse or Andre 3000, something very complicated and musical with a lot of different cadences and the way he changes his voice and all that. Oh my God, it's amazing. Amazing. Yes, I'll type in the chat. Pharoahe Monch. Name of the song, Scream. I don't know what that is. I made a mistake. Why is this thing not typing right? Not typing right. Yeah, he spells his name weird. I think this is how he spells it. Pharoahe Monch. Something like that. Name of the song is Scream. Okay. From PTSD album. Great artist. And he has a new one out called, he has a group called 13. And 13, I heard some of the songs off their new album. It's amazing. Brilliant artist. One of my favorites. Nas is one of my favorites. But music always helps me to groove. Music gets me in that zone. Music can help control my mood and keep my mood nice and calm. And then if it's not music, it's art. I like to write songs and write poetry, so I'm not freaking out when I'm sitting there coming up with a really cool melody I'm proud of. And you guys have seen, for those who've been following my live streams for a little while, you've seen me do hip hop meditation, and you guys have seen me do like I did like this one song called "Lay Me Down" at the end of my live streams. Oh, lay me down and light up my soul. And when I'm singing and letting it out, it feels beautiful. And you saw me sing. I did one live stream called "Free Love Songs." Hopefully they'll give you guys access to these live streams that I'm doing. I know that I can watch the replay for the live streams. Hopefully they'll let you guys watch them one day too. Candace, you're welcome. Yeah, with those music is one of the things that I use, a strategy I use to help. Art is something that, definitely helps me stay in the present moment. And you guys can use the same strategy. And music actually When I first started having panic attacks, I was like 24 years old. And I would calm myself down. I didn't know what they were, but I would calm myself down using music a lot, or poetry. And now I've overcome it with meditation. And music is another form of meditation. They don't tell you that, but it's a form of meditation. Composing music, listening to music, all of it is meditation in various ways. In Africa and in India too, they have Shiva, who's like stern, and Shiva will go and sit on top of a mountain during a snowstorm and just get into a meditative zone and sit there for thousands of years to attain enlightenment. And Krishna will dance. They call it Lila Raza, God's play of the gods. And Shiva will play music on the drum and dance beautifully. And that's how he attains enlightenment. And same thing if you look at Africa. A big part of their spiritual systems is dancing and singing. That's a form of spirituality. It's a form of meditation. Don't let these boneheads take that away from you. You're meditating when you listen to music. When you dance, you're meditating. Don't think that bachata is not a form of meditation. Don't think that salsa music is not a form of meditation. Anything that allows you to be in the present moment and be mindful and just let go of the ego and let go of everything, that's your meditation. For some people, cooking is a form of meditation. I know a guy who used to suffer from manic depression. And in order to help him, he would literally cook these amazing, and he's a friend of mine, my best friend of all time. You know, since I was 8 years old. And he became a foodie, and he would just meditate through cooking and make amazing meals. We two kids from the hood, and he would be making these filet mignon steaks, stuff that we couldn't even afford when we were kids. And when he got old enough and started making a lot of money, he became an intense chef. Some of the best food I ever had came from him. One of my best friends, and I gotta find him because I'm gonna be moving soon to Maryland. And I wanna find him and say, listen, man, I love you, and give him a big hug. Gotta find him though. He's always been going through all kinds of issues. But when he was really trying to keep his mental health together, cooking was his meditation. Writing was his meditation. Whatever you do, there's a guy named Sadhguru. He said, whatever you do with intensity is your meditation. Whatever you do with intensity is what they call the sadhana. That's your sadhana. Help you attain enlightenment. And mindfulness, whatever you do mindfully is your meditation. And I want you to use that as your tool. That's a meditation tool as well. That's a tool to kick anxiety in the backside too. Music, food, hugging somebody, making love. Yeah, let all of that be your therapy. There's no rules. Whatever works for you, works for you. As long as it's not self-destructive. As long as you're not hurting yourself or hurting anybody else. As long as you're not lying to yourself. Use it. And if it reduces your anxiety, use it. Yeah, Jackie, yeah. Bachata. Yeah, when I was going through my serious depression and serious anxiety, yeah, music was always my savior. Bachata music, and there's a guy named Hector Lavoe. He had a song, a really beautiful salsa song called Aguanile. And that was my meditation too, because Aguanile, because in certain Latin countries they have Catholicism and strict Christianity, but before there was the Christianity that arrived, they had their pre-Christian religions. And in Puerto Rico, they would worship a god called Aguanile. And Aguanile, he remained. And even during the Christian time, people still sneak and pray to and worship Aguanile. And they had these symbols and these images for Aguanile. And he would sing, and you would hear the drum coming in. The drum would be nice and loud. And then you hear his voice. So powerful. Aguanile. I can't sing as good as him at all. But whenever I heard his voice come on at the beginning of the song, whatever I was doing, I'd stop and I would have to listen. And that was meditation for me. Beautiful. Gets me every time. Anybody have any more questions before we close out? Anything else I can help with? We got 129 in here. Salute to everybody who showed up tonight. Thank you so much, Candace, for the donations. Thank you, everybody, for the donations. It's beautiful. Knowledge is free, but if you can donate, we appreciate it. Alright, so if nobody has any more questions, you can definitely work up to that song. Agua Nile is one of the best songs ever created. Everybody, if you don't have any more questions, we're gonna wrap up now. And I apologize. I know I look exhausted because I am. My face looks nice and fleshy, and my bags are packed right here. I'm off to Never Land. It's been a busy week, but thank you all for sharing your questions and sharing your stories. Candace, you're very, very welcome. And thank you to everybody else who showed up to offer their support and their love. I am gonna get that circle up for you guys this week. I can try to do it by myself. I don't know how to do it, so I'm gonna just have to send an email to the Inside Temple and say I'm gonna get a circle for everybody. And then when I got the circle up, just join the circle and you guys can connect and talk to each other. Sky, thank you. All right, guys, you have a good night. Thank you all very much. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you. And then next week, I might do another one. I might open discussion for anxiety for next week. We'll offer some meditation tips for next week for anxiety. Just let me know what you guys want and need. And I will talk to you soon. Peace and blessings. Namaste. Hotep. Ashe. Assalamu alaikum. However you greet, however you depart. I love all of you. Alright?